Family vacations can be super messy. And for these Redditors, we have issues with not wanting to go on cruises with family, not wanting to see our family on the cruise, and our family actually not inviting us on the cruise. For those of you who are not new to the BriHive and you were here last week, you know that I actually went on a cruise last week. So we are going to do some Reddit stories today about these families that just can't get their vacation right on the cruise. If you are watching live, let us know if you've ever been on a cruise and who you went on the cruise with. And if you're watching on the replays, definitely let us know if you've been on a cruise and who you've been on one with. We are going to be reacting to these Reddit stories of these family members who just can't seem to get it right on their family vacation. And I mean, who wants to be stuck at sea with people you don't really like? So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the first story of the live stream and see if this person is the a-hole. So let's go ahead and jump on the first one. The first one we have is, am I the a-hole for not going to dinner with my family on a cruise? Now, it sounds like it can be a problem if you're not wanting to actually hang out with your family on the cruise that you went on with your family, but I definitely know how complicated it can be on a cruise with family members. Luckily, I just went on my cruise with just my husband, so we had a good time. We didn't go to dinner without each other, but this particular Redditor is not very happy with their family and how they are allowing the kids to behave on their cruise. So let's jump right into this one. With my family on a cruise. I, 23 female, recently went on a cruise with my husband, 23 male, sister, 25 female, and her husband, 25 male, and their kids, 3 male, 3 female, her own brother, 28 male, and his wife, 28 female, and their kids, 10 male, 8 male, 5 male, 3 female, and 1 female. They have a lot of kids to be 28 years old, but whatever floats your boat. 5 kids at 28. I don't know if I can do it. And our parents, 56 female and 57 male. She starts off by saying, I love my family and going on vacation with them. I'm sorry, y'all. What the heck just happened? Okay. I love my family and going on vacation with them. All of my nieces and nephews are great with the exception of my oldest nephew. My oldest nephew is a massive bully at school. He's basically the principal's best friend at this point. He's a bully to his siblings and to his cousins. He is mean to his parents, but his parents can only see the positive. He's nerdy and gets good grades, so they brag about him being smart. They never punish him, and punishments at school don't seem to have an effect on him. He has left many different schools after he has left many different after school groups like Boy Scouts and chess clubs after differences with other kids. On the day we left, he was already starting trouble. He was bullying another boy, 10 male, in the kids area for being too feminine. At 10 years old, who is teaching him to tell someone that they are too feminine? He was rude to the other kids as well. The next day, he was being a brat to his parents, refusing to follow any direction. He made a scene at dinner when his siblings' food came out before his. He's 10 and he's reacting like this. The incident that really pissed me off was the day after. It was our first day on land. He was being rude all day like he typically is. That night before dinner back on the ship, there was the first art auction. My husband's younger brother, 14 male, who is not on the cruise, right, is a huge art guy. He just started at a high school for the arts and wants to major in art history in college. My husband ended up getting him a few pieces as a gift. I was showing pictures of them to my family and my nephew saw them and called it ugly and then went talking about his brother. And then went on talking about her fiance's or her husband's brother. And my nephew saw them. Sorry, let me get it together. So I was showing pictures of them to my family and my nephew saw them and called it ugly and then went on talking about my husband's brother. He said art was for girls and making fun of him after that. I took my I took my brother aside and asked him to make my nephew apologize. He refused and said that while he disagreed with his son, him and his wife believe it's best to let kids develop their own political beliefs. I pressed him again and he said, kids don't listen to their parents' political beliefs anyways. At that point, it was right before dinner. I told my family that me and my husband were going to go back to our room and rest for a bit. We ended up talking to each other and agreeing to eat dinner in our room. When we didn't come to the dining area, we got texted by my family and I told them we would not be coming after our nephew's comments. My brother and his wife are saying I'm blowing this out of proportion, and my sister and parents said I should have gone for the other kids. For the rest of the cruise, we ate in our room. Am I the a-hole? What are these parents talking about the child's political beliefs? What political beliefs do a 10-year-old have? Why is this 10-year-old so against people, males, it sounds like, in whether they are feminine or have feminine energy? Because remember, at the beginning of the cruise, he's mean to someone in the play, a kid in the play area, saying that he was too feminine. And then now we have him saying that art is for girls when he's talking to OP's husband. Like, what is up with this kid, and why are these parents not correcting him? He is not coming up with these views on his own. So I'm kind of wondering if the parents also agree with their child, or if the parents are actually teaching the child those kind of things. And it's weird that the kid is only aggressive about thinking that things are feminine. I'm wondering if that kid is having some feelings within himself and wanting to be the tough guy. And so in order to be the tough guy, he's being against femininity, which I don't get that at 10 years old. But I also don't have kids, and I haven't been 10 years old for a long time. So if y'all know why kids are like that, definitely let me know. I'm going to read some of the comments on Reddit, and then I'm going to jump into the BriHive verdict on this one. Is OP the a-hole for not eating dinner with her family after this little kid the little kid is really being an a-hole? So let me know what y'all think. Someone commented saying not the a-hole on several levels. Your brother is an a-hole and needs to step up as a parent. No, seriously, kids develop their beliefs and views based on the entirety of their surroundings. It's the parents' effing job. They got some stars. The parents' job to be the best influences they can possibly be. And your nephew is clearly developing misogynistic and bigoted views, which need to be dealt with. Failing to rein in the bully who bullied the other kids. Your family has no right to claim that you should have gone for the other kids if they were really interested in doing right by the other kids. They'd work on your nephew. Your family is not entitled to your time and has no right to demand that you suck up the unpleasant atmosphere for their sake. That they were spot on that one. I completely agree. You're going to let that rub off on the other kids. The brother who has all these 5 kids has 2 other sons, and there's another little boy. And if they're learning these things from the big cousin, remember, the kids are going to be looking up at this older cousin and thinking this is how they are supposed to behave. They need to nip that in the butt right now, and explain to their son, like, how are you calling kids feminine? Like, getting mean and saying that kids are feminine, and that's an insult. They need to correct that ASAP. Someone else said the kid sounds like he is in desperate need of parenting because his behavior sounds rotten. Even most child bullies at least have some fear or respect for adults. These parents need to find a way to address his behavior now, because it may escalate to violence on his little mouth may write a check that he can't cash. I agree with that as well. Probably crying out for attention. Someone else is commenting, probably crying out for attention because he has so many brothers and sisters. 6 kids at 28 years old. I thought it was 5. Apparently I can't count. Yeah, I think it is actually 6, because I think there was 4 boys and 2 girls at 28 years old. Yeah, that's a lot of kids. Holy moly, seems like your brother has checked out on the kids for some attention to notice him. I can agree with that. It sounds like dad and mom needs to really hone in, and he's the oldest, so it would make sense that that kid is not getting a lot of attention. But I just don't understand whether, that is feminine, that is feminine. excuse me, that is feminine is coming from. Like they really need to nip that in the butt and check that on him, especially being the oldest of the cousins and then the oldest of the siblings. Gabrielle George says, hello, and welcome in. KW says, my husband and I go out at least twice a year on a cruise. We love them. It was such a great time. And we're reading this one and it involves kids. We went on an all adults cruise and it was amazing. Now, we had some things that were unexpected on that cruise as far as people's interest, to put it in a nice way. It was adults only, so it definitely was not kid friendly. We went on Virgin Voyages, so if you haven't gone, you definitely should. It is a little bit more pricey, but I think the price is worth not having little hooligans running around, and not saying that anyone on the live stream have hooligans, but it is a good break to have just adults on a cruise and not worrying about tripping over little kids or doing any or saying anything that may offend the little kids or people with little kids. It was an amazing cruise. We went to, it was just right off of Miami. We just went to Key West and we went to Bimini, Bahamas. It was amazing. If you have not tried an adults only cruise, you definitely should. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, caught you live. Hi, Bree. Hello and welcome in. Nice to have you back. Nice to have you back and alive. We got Cat Love Dreaming Peach saying, OMG, what about that lady who just died after a flight with her man on the cruise of some semi-famous dude? I did not hear about that. That is, I have no idea about that. So I'm going to have to look into that. I'm sorry to hear that for them. I'm happy we made it back safe. And I was saying that the entire time, especially how the planes are liking to come out of the air this year. So, but yeah, that's insane. I did not hear about that. We got Gabrielle George says, teaching your child to interact with other people in a respectful way is not political. What exactly? Like, why are we saying calling things feminine and for girls as political? Why is that considered political? It's not. It's not. Zello Spoo says, I've been on several cruises with varying amounts of family. How have they gone? I've gone with my family before. I've only been on a cruise with my parents and my sister. That was one cruise. And then the other cruises I've been on has only been with my husband, but this one was the first adults only one, which was fun. Gabrielle George says, you can have controversial opinions and still know when it's rude to voice your opinion, and just knowing how to be respectful to other people. And we're talking about, this kid is talking to adults. Remember, OP is 23 and her husband is 23, and he's telling them that the art is ugly and that his brother likes art and that's for girls. You have to be respectful, right? Have to be respectful. Just Me MD says, not the a-hole. Hey, y'all buzzing on. Hello and welcome in. Nice to have you back, Just Me MD. We got Zello Spoo saying, not the a-hole, but the brother or the kid's parents are totally the a-holes. I agree. The parents need to do some parenting at some point here. Gabrielle George says, this kid has never been exposed to any major historical artworks. Exactly. And I'm like, how is art for girls? A lot of artists, especially the famous artists from back in the day with all the famous pieces, they're men. So how is art for girls? Cat Love Dreaming Peach, and it's not gender based, I guess. I don't even know how to explain that, but art is not gender based. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, when my nephew was 6, I gave him my son's sneakers he outgrew. They were black and pink. He loved them. The next day, he brought them back and said, Daddy said these are for girls. I can't keep them. I'm so pissed. So pissed that dad. Yeah, pink is not for girls. Pink is a color. It is a color. Now, do we have general gender colors? Sure, but boys wear pink. Boys wear pink, men wear pink, girls wear pink. Everybody can wear pink. It is just a color. I can definitely understand being pissed, especially if the kid loved it at first. Just Me MD says, not the a-hole. Sounds like his parents are practicing the gentle parenting method. Sounds like his parents are not parenting at all because they're 28 with 6 darn kids. That is a lot of kids. Like, assuming they started at 18, that's like a kid every 1.5 years at that point. Oh my gosh. Gabrielle George says, it isn't even gentle parenting. They made no attempt to correct him, gentle or not, LOL. They just gave up trying to influence their child. Yeah, and I'm wondering where the kid is getting it from. It has to be at least partly from the parents. Zello Spoo says, mostly good. They were only a few meltdowns, but the kids at the time were 3, 5, and 7, and they weren't huge. Just little kids being tired and or too overstimulated. I can definitely understand that on a cruise. I was actually kind of nervous of going on this cruise because I get seasick, but I think I finally did it right and put my motion sick patches on sooner rather than later. And I didn't really get motion sickness. All the restaurants were in the back of the boat. So that is where I felt it the most, is whenever we were in the restaurant. So being 3, 5, and 7, especially not knowing if they get motion sickness or anything of like that, that's not too bad. You would expect any vacation for some kids to have some type of meltdowns, especially being that young. But as long as it wasn't the entire cruise, I'm happy that it was a good time for you. Cat Love Dreamin' Peach says, Kimberly Birch, 56, reportedly fell overboard after an argument with her fiance came down. I think that's how you say that. The lead singer of the 80s band Foster Cats on the Royal Caribbean ship Explorer, 20 miles from the Bahamas. Wow. Are we sure she fell? Are we sure she fell? When was that? I did not see that. Sorry to her. Cruises are fun. Just be careful on the railings. But I hope this was an actual accident and not a pushover. Because that sounds crazy. Like after an argument, you just fall. Oh man. I'm gonna have to look into that. Okay. So I think the overall consensus is that OP is not the a-hole on this one. So let's go ahead and jump on to the next one and say, am I the a-hole for being upset that my family went on a cruise without me? And I know how hurtful that can be. Like your whole family is going out on a cruise and you're just sitting at home and wondering like, okay, why was I not invited? And this one is a little bit worse because of the way that they found out that they were not invited on the cruise. So let's go ahead and jump into this new story. Am I the a-hole that I'm upset that my family went on a cruise without me? My sister called me about 2 weeks ago and said on the phone that she had something she was excited about coming up, but she couldn't tell me. I'm not the type to pry, so I moved on without much question. It doesn't tell us whether OP is a male or a female or what their gender identity is. A day or two later, I check her Snapchat story and she is on a cruise and I didn't think much of it. On a call with my mother shortly after, she informed me that she was on a cruise with my dad, uncle, and 3 of my cousins. For context, my parents are divorced. Everyone on the cruise lives in Georgia and I live in Florida where I am in college. So even his mom and dad, or the OP's mom and dad, are on a cruise without OP, but the mom and dad are divorced and they didn't even invite the kid. Isn't that insane? A few days later, my sister called me after docking on the Virgin Islands where she got service, and the first thing she says is that my dad won't tell her what he knows about me being gay. I came out to my dad recently, but my sister has known for years. After a bit of small talk, I asked her why I wasn't invited on the cruise, and she essentially said she didn't think I could afford it. I told her it wasn't her place to assume my financial situation and that it would have at least been polite to invite me. I later learned she told everyone, including my close friends, and told them not to inform me. She said the cruise was $3,000 per person. I also asked her why they decided to go on a 9-day cruise without me when we have been talking about going on a deep sea fishing trip for years now. Since I moved to Florida, it's very reasonable as I live on the coast and there are charters walking distance from my home for $300 with all equipment provided. This was a trip I had invited the whole family on and something I had been wanting to do. Ideally work on repairing mine and my father's already damaged relationship. I guess they're trying to say they wanted to do the fishing trip in order to repair his relationship with his dad, but it's worded kind of funky there. She told me they would still come on the fishing trip, to which I responded I no longer wanted to go on the trip with them, and that if I went, they were no longer invited. She then said she still wanted to come visit me in Florida, and I said that if she came to Florida to find a hotel because she was not welcome at my place. So OP is pissed off. Like, y'all went on a whole cruise without me. Now you want to say you want to come on my fishing trip, and no, you can't come. And now you're saying you want to visit me. Well, figure out where to stay, because I do not really want to see you. Okay. OP goes on to say they all got back a few days ago, and she hasn't called me, but has reached out to my mom to ask if I was still mad at her and my dad. It's frustrating to me because in the past, I have always been the person to come up and visit for the holidays. And when I have come up to visit around Christmas, she spends more time at her boyfriend's place and her friends' houses than prioritizing spending time with me. Sometimes I would go and the only time I would see her was when she would pick me up at the airport. And the time we would spend together, she doesn't plan any activity or have any meaningful conversation with me. I'm done going out of the way to visit them. I'm also not welcoming them into my home on all items out of state for 4 years now and living in Florida for one, and haven't had them visit me haven't had them visit me once, but I've been there for the major holidays. Am I the a-hole for being upset, not wanting them to visit, or no longer visit them? What do y'all think? I'm sorry, y'all, that my camera is going in and out. It's raining here and it's crazy weather, so I don't know if it's like messing with my Wi-Fi or what, but sorry for that. I saw that it has blacked out like at least 2 times now. But anyways, is OP the a-hole for being upset that his entire family, mom and dad who are divorced, sister, his uncle, and his cousins going on, I'm saying his, I don't know what gender OP is, going on a cruise without them? And just kind of saying, oh, well, it was $3,000 per person and we didn't think you can afford it. And we didn't tell you about it until we got on the cruise, but everyone else around you knew about it except for you. And we told them not to tell you. I don't know why OP is not mad at the mom, because the mom apparently knew about it and also didn't tell OP. So what do y'all think? Is OP the a-hole? Let's check out some of the comments on Reddit. They say, not the a-hole to all three. Seems like they just didn't want to be known or be seen publicly associated with someone who's gay, possibly. Which, that was odd. They kind of just threw in that they were gay and then left it there. Like, it's kind of left to our imagination to assume that they are excluding OP because they are gay. Someone else comments and say, not the a-hole. She not only didn't invite you, but took measures to make sure you weren't aware it was happening. The exclusion was intentional. Her excuse is flimsy. You're under no obligation to be inclusive with her in your plans. Unlike her, you're being honest and upfront about it. And so I do wonder if it has to do with OP being gay. And why would you not want OP to know? This commentary is right. It was intentional. They did not want you to go. That's why they didn't want you to know. Someone else says, not the a-hole. Your sister and father clearly are, though. Families should never treat each other with such disrespect, and you are right to question why they don't come to see you. Personally, I would go low contact with them all and focus on yourself and your boyfriend. So I'm assuming OP is a guy if he's gay, and they're saying they got a boyfriend. One more says, not the a-hole, but cruises tend to get booked out quite a few months, if not years in advance. I cruise a fair bit. I'm not sure what the timeline is on the whole telling your dad your gay situation is, so I can't say if that had any effect on you not being invited. But for your mother, dad, sister, uncle, and 3 cousins all to look at and find a cruise to go on and never once having thought to even ask you tells me they really don't like you for some reason. Maybe it's time for a no contact approach. You're clearly not as loved as you thought. I would have to agree with that, because how do you plan that? And I don't know of any cruises that go out of Georgia. Where did this cruise leave out? Did the cruise leave out of Florida? Okay? Because if OP is in Florida, everyone else is in Georgia, and the cruise left out of Florida, how do you not invite the person that lives in Florida? And with the person being in college, You could be like, oh, we assumed you would be in school and you couldn't go. That might have been a better excuse, but even then, you still invite the person. So let's see what the BriHive thinks about all of this. So let's see. Zealous Boo says cruise and deep sea fishing / diving isn't the same as a cruise. No, it's not the same. And definitely is a different cost, as according to OP, that is $300 of all the equipment. But I think OP's position was that I invited them on my water trip. Why are you guys not inviting me on yours? Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, sis, not into bro nor the family ex. Yeah, they're not okay with the brother for whatever reason, with OP for whatever reason. Kat says he's not the a-hole, but I'm getting his family don't care about him. They're not interested in him being involved. That's what it seems like. Zealous Blue says maybe the coming out is a bigger problem than they've let on, or I don't know. I feel like there's more information that is needed theoretically, not the a-hole. I agree. Why are they not inviting you? And it seems like the sister's only excuse was that it was $3,000 per person. You're in college, didn't think you can afford it. But you didn't ask me if I can afford it, if I can make it shake. So that's interesting. Zealous Who says cruises also leave out of Texas. Oh yeah, they do. They didn't say where this one left out of. So I'm wondering where they left out of. Being that they're in Georgia, I'm wondering if it left out of Florida though. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says they snuck past his backyard. Yeah, that's what it feels like. I'm not sure if that's literally what happened, but that is definitely what it feels like. So I think overall consensus is not the a-hole. I think even if it wasn't the financial I think there's no reason to leave out any family member. If the whole family is going, like if you're just going with your spouse or it's a sister's one only, whatever it may be, that's fine. But if it's the entire family and you leave out one person, knowing that they are wanting to be included, i.e. they come to family holidays, they visit you guys, you know that they want to be included and they are making an effort to be included, and you're not including them. The question is why? Why? Just Me MD says not the a-hole. I can see why OP is heartbroken. I would not totally disown everyone. I do believe it is past time for I do believe it is past time for a serious sit down with mom and dad first and the sister to see what's really going on. I think it does need to be a big family meeting. I think mom, dad, and sister all need to come together and, hey, what is the issue? I feel like every time I come, I'm excluded. I wonder if this kid had been excluded throughout their lives, even before they went away to college. Like, was this always a thing in the family? Did they just always not like him? Is this person into weird things? Like, do they not talk? Do they make everyone feel awkward? What is the problem? I think they need to have an entire family sit down, which again, even if OP was a weird kid and he did weird things, mom and dad who are divorced went on the cruise together and were able to get along. So what is OP doing that's making everyone so uncomfortable? It almost seems like the assumption is because they're uncomfortable with him being gay. Zealous Boo says, I mean, cost might be the more socially acceptable answer than you're a bad person to be around for long in close quarters, but there's no information to say one way or another. And that's why I'm wondering if OP is the one writing it, if they are like a sucky person, they're not going to come out and say every time we go on a trip, I cut everyone's hair off. And maybe that's why they don't want me to go, right? We need a little bit more context of why they're not being invited. And are you trying to get us to insinuate it's because you're gay? I think OP is trying to get us to insinuate it's because they're gay, but I'm wondering if there's more information to this. So there we have it there. So let's go ahead and jump on. I think the overall consensus is that OP is not the a-hole with the information that we have, right? Let's go ahead and jump over to the next story that is, am I the a-hole for not wanting to go on a cruise with my ex? This one is fairly interesting to me. It's only a year old. So off initial statements, right? I'm thinking, no, you're not the a-hole for not wanting to go on a cruise with your ex. Last story, mom and dad were divorced, their exes, they still went on the cruise together and excluded their child. Like, that's messed up. But this person is not wanting to go on a cruise with their ex-husband. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. So a quick backstory is I was married for 6 years, divorced in 2001. Y'all, please remember, this story is 1 year ago. This person was divorced in 2001. Amicable split remained cordial for our son. Ex-husband will fly out of state for a week over Christmas break to see him. Let me see. Here we go. Ex-husband will fly from out of state for a week over Christmas break to see him. He always stayed at my parents' house. No big deal to me. I didn't live there and our son was happy. Except that 1 year we were all together. Very awkward and uncomfortable for the person I was in a relationship with at the time. After our son graduates high school, he moves 1,525 miles away to live with his dad and start a career. Everything is going great. I remarry in 2020. Everything is going great. Now I bring you to last week. Parents are celebrating their 40th anniversary in December 2024, so just this past December, and they have picked out a cruise and have an open invitation for family and friends to celebrate. Everyone pays their own fare. I get the info to select the cabin, and I'm ready to make a down payment. Phone rings. It's my mom with great news. My son has asked his father to be his roomie. She is thrilled, and all she can talk about is everyone being together. I'm like, man, I think about this for hours after we hang up. The more I think, the angrier I get. The decision is made to not join the family cruise. I inform my mother and she is pissed. She is defending the decision that she and my son made together. Never once thinking to reach out to my husband and I first to find out how we'd feel. My husband of 3 years doesn't know my son's father, and the thought of hanging out with his wife's ex-husband isn't exactly his idea of a good time. My ex-husband isn't a bad guy, but I divorced him for a reason, and the thought of spending 5 days with him makes me cringe. Yes, I know it's a cruise ship and there's lots to do, but if I want to do something with my son, his dad will most likely tag along. I can't make this make sense. Do we go and suck it up, or should I invite my mom's ex-husband, OP's dad, and his lady friend to join us? And then she puts like laughing emojis because apparently her parents are not in a relationship anymore. And so they're like, well, should I bring her ex-husband? Which, geez, that's still a long. She's been married for 40 years and a divorce from your dad for at least 40 years, right? That's a long time. But what is your thought? Is OP the a-hole for not wanting to go on a cruise with her ex? Off of the title, I feel like, no, not the a-hole. But now that I've read the story, I'm like, it's been 20 years. Okay. And it's been 23 years at this point. And you do not want to go on a cruise. You're not going to be rooming with him. You don't have to hang out with them. I forgot to say the overall vote on the other two that we just covered. It was not the a-hole. This one's overall vote is not the a-hole. I think it's doable. I think it's doable. You're celebrating your parents. I get being petty and inviting your dad. Maybe you should invite your dad. I don't know. But let's see what the comments have to say on this one. First person to comment says, or should I invite my mom's ex-husband, i.e. OP's dad, and his lady friend to join us? I know you posted this bit tongue-in-cheek, but I definitely politely say to your mom, I don't think you'd appreciate me inviting my dad and his partner along, so please try and understand my perspective. It's possible your mom never even thought that it would bother you and your husband, not the a-hole. Someone else comments, I think she tells mom Hubs has to work for dad. I think she tells mom Hubs has to work for dad, so dad is going to be my roommate. It will be great to have the whole family together. No, see her response to that. Then, of course, say, Mom, what you just experienced is why I'm not coming, not the a-hole. OP says, we are still working through that. The more responses I read, the more understanding I have. I will have a long talk with my husband. My son is most important right now, never my mother. someone else responds and says, you've been separated for 22 years. Your son probably thinks you can exist in the same place as his dad for a few days. If you can't, then I'm questioning how amicable your breakup truly was, because it's been 2 decades and you're acting like it was either a nasty divorce or a fresh start or a real fresh. Sure, it may be a little awkward on the few times you'll have to interact at dinner and such, but I honestly don't see why this is such a big deal. I would have to agree with that commentary. Everyone else is like, no, it's weird. It's weird. I'm be like, your kid has to be like 25 years old. Someone else says, it's possible your mom never thought that it would bother you or your husband. And then it also says, or if you're me, she absolutely did think about it and decided my feelings on the matter were unnecessary and dramatic. Another person says, the mother and son just didn't even consider OP, or they would have asked how she felt before making the decision. They put themselves first and expected you to go along. Not the a-hole. Tell them exactly how you feel and how they failed to consider you. I'd add that I don't want to spend 5 days on a cruise ship to celebrate people that don't value you, but that's just me based on my family. Someone says, OP, how are your parents celebrating their 40th anniversary, but your dad is an ex? Were your parents never really together? I think it's probably like a stepdad that's celebrating it. And then let me see. Okay, so her parents divorced when she was 9. Okay. Either way it goes, I think it's a bit petty. You're not going to be rooming with your ex. You've been broken up. You said that your ex is not a bad guy. What was with a divorce? Was it an abusive situation? If it's not any of that, I think 23 years is enough time to get over a divorce. There was a comment that I was looking for, but I couldn't find it. They said, what are you going to do when your son gets married or have a baby? Are you not going to be in the same room with him then? Like, come on. When you have a child with someone, you're going to have to deal with them for the rest of your life. And to go to dinner with them for your mom, it sounds like your parents have a good relationship with him. He still seems to be a friend of the family, at least. You're the only one still acting weird. I think we need a little bit more context as to why you don't want him around. And I also understand the whole not going. But for me, 23 years and you share a child together, it seems a bit immature to me. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Zealous Blue says, my gut response is this, and this one is not the a-hole, but context might change my mind. I think for me, same thing, but the context said I think you can live. I think you can live to celebrate your mom and spend some time with your kid, right? Mary Jane says, oh, I missed this. No problem. Welcome in. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, kind of a-hole. I think it's something you can get past. 5 days, it's not long. I just went on a 5-day cruise and it was not long enough, I tell you. Zealous Boo says, has the ex-husband been trying to get back together for the last 20 years? If so, then not the a-hole. If no, then OP needs to decide what is better for her future relationship with the parents and the son, right? You have this new 3-year marriage that is afraid to be around your ex-husband. So like the comment that I couldn't find said, what are you going to do when the kid gets married? Okay. What are you going to do when the kid has a baby? Are you not going to be able to be in the same place? He lives near dad. So is dad going to be the one that's more involved with the grandchildren? Yeah, I think this needs to be your start to figuring out how to co-parent, co-grandparent together, because your kid is coming to the age where he's going to start hitting those other milestones, right? You don't have to sit with him. You don't have to hold his hand on the cruise. Sit on the opposite side of the table. You don't even have to talk to him. When you go to dinner with a big group of people, you don't even talk to everyone at the table. So Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, I do stuff with my baby daddy for the kids regularly. Exactly. You have to literally deal with that person for the rest of your life. A lot of people say that marriage is too much of a commitment. No, because if you get married and you don't have kids and you guys break up, you just break up. You divide financial stuff and you never have to see Bob again. Okay. But if you had a kid with Bob, Bob is going to be there until you probably die. Bob is probably going to come to your funeral. If you have a kid together with someone, you have to deal with them for the rest of your life. And the more The earlier you can start doing stuff together for the sake of your child, the easier it would be. Like, she should have already been to a point where she would be okay. It sounds like dad was coming to visit the grandparents every year since the divorce in 2001. The kid is now an adult. You haven't done any Christmas dinners with him? You said that one time with whoever you were dating was awkward. Is it you that's making it awkward? I think it's you. And dad is not even bringing a girlfriend. Dad is rooming with your kid. And you're saying, oh, if I want to do something with my kid, then the dad is going to want to tag along. Tell him no, go away. You're acting like the dad can't hang out by himself. I don't know. Cat Love Dream P says it is a rowboat or a floating town. It's a floating town. It's a whole cruise ship, right? A whole cruise ship. Zillow Smooth says, but I think OP isn't the a-hole for not for whatever decision. Sorry, but I think OP isn't not the a-hole. I think he means not the a-hole for whatever their decision is, but they need to be aware this can really impact her relationship with her family. I agree. I think I say get over it just because I do divorce law, and it's like, you have a kid with that person, you should be able to be around it. And this is not even dad's family. This is her family, and her family clearly has a good relationship with the dad, which indicates that the kid probably has a good relationship with the dad, and dad is going to be around for major milestones for this kid moving forward. Like, you don't just have a kid and everyone says, oh, you got to deal with them for the next 18 years. No, you don't. You have to deal with this person literally for the rest of your life. Like I said, they might even be at your funeral because you share a human being with them, right? You didn't just share money with them. You shared a human being with them. But I agree, not the a-hole if you decide not to go. And I do definitely think it will impact her ability to connect with her son if she does not go. Just Me MD says, not the a-hole. I agree on the cruise. Not the a-hole. I agree on the cruise and make it work, but sure to talk to hubby first. Be sure to set and stick to boundaries if needed. Maybe split activities with your son if necessary. That's what I'm saying. She said, oh, then the dad's going to want to tag along. Tell him no. You're literally rooming with the kid. And we're not talking about a kid here. This is an adult man, right? The child is now an adult. Dad can go and play at the casino or go see a show or hang out with grandma and grandpa for a little bit while mom spends independent time with her son. Because remember, son lives with dad wherever city they live in, right? But mom doesn't see son as often. So dad can sit a little bit out to let mom have some independent time with her son. Cat Love Dream and Peace says, I think OP needs to grow up. I have to agree. Or just, get used to missing milestones for your son. If she's okay with missing milestones, that's on her. I think that's on her. Crystal Harris says, hey, y'all, to all. Hello and welcome in. Crystal Harris says, live in the Hive. Yes, we are live in the Hive. Mary Jane, really not Sarah, says, sounds like we need context, LOL. I think they need to, like she said, dad is not a bad guy. So to me, that sounds like it was just a quick divorce. You were only married for 6 years. You have a son. The son is now an adult. Let us know if there was a little bit more. Like someone said, is he flirting with you every time you see him? Like, why is it uncomfortable for you to be around someone that you broke up with 20 years ago? 23 years ago when you've been married for 3 years. I don't know. Mary Jane, really not Sarah, says, you look so cute, Brie. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I took a good nap today. So hopefully that added to the cuteness. But for me, overall, I guess she's not the a-hole, but I do think that she needs to grow up. We're talking, she said her parents split up when she was 9, and her mom is celebrating her 40th anniversary with stepdad. So I'm assuming mom is at least over 50. You have a long time to still have to deal with the man you created a human child with. Okay. At least, hopefully she lives another 50 years, right? So I think it's something she can use as a stepping stone to be ready for what was I thinking? I think she can use it as a stepping stone to be ready for other milestones her son is going to go into as he becomes an adult himself. He is an adult already, so they really should have already worked through this when he was a kid. At Christmas when dad was coming to visit every single time. So let's go on and jump to the next one of, am I the a-hole for not wanting to go on a Disney cruise with my boyfriend and his family? Y'all, I don't know if this one is that juicy because I didn't read this one. So I have no idea how this one is going to turn out. Y'all let me know what you think. Is OP the a-hole for not wanting to go on a Disney cruise with their boyfriend and his family? So for context, I am 27 female and my boyfriend is 25 male. Ooh, cougar woman, right? My current boyfriend and I met about 2 years ago and we've been doing pretty well. We always spent birthdays, holidays, events with our own immediate family. And the other person, aka I spend Christmas with my mom and siblings. He spends it with his own. Because his family lives closer and they are very tight knit, his family would always extend the invite to me. And despite me saying no to a few events I felt were too intimate for a new girlfriend to show up to, I would slowly start to show up and meet most of his family. They have been very friendly and kind, and I couldn't be more grateful for the warm welcome. Part of me is still hesitant about getting too close, but my boyfriend has been patient and never pressures me into anything I might feel weird about. This lady sounds like she has commitment issues. You've been together for 2 years. 2 years. You're meeting them too soon? We should be talking about where this relationship is going next. Like, what are we talking about here? Because of where me and my boyfriend live, we've been to Disney World a few times, and it's always a good time for us. We also live near water and have enjoyed some water sports stuff together, just us two for fun. When asked if I would go on a cruise ship because he has been on a couple and sees it as another adventure together, I have been adamant about not wanting to go. While we've planned multiple day trips and even traveling out of the state together for a couple of vacations, the idea of a cruise ship isn't exactly fun for me. I had mentioned that the Disney aspect did look fun and would make the cruise more tolerable just because of the good memories we had associated with it. However, the offer came up when my boyfriend's family started planning a family trip for a Disney cruise and extended the invite for us. When he told me, I felt torn because I genuinely felt uncomfortable with the idea of being stuck on a huge boat in the middle of the ocean with hundreds of strangers and then also being considered part of the family enough to be with them for days at a time. My immediate response was no, but my boyfriend asked a couple of times and stressed that it was Disney themed and I promised it would be fun. I told him to give me some time to think about it. While I know how much his family means to him and how much he loves making fun memories, I am so hesitant to take what I feel is a big step forward in the relationship and spend so much time with his family. This girl is non-committal. She's non-committal. Oh my gosh. Part of me thinks it's still trauma from my last relationship, and I know they would be fine with me there, and it would be a kind thing to do for him so he can have everyone he loves on the vacation. But I just don't want to be miserable if I got seasick or we got in a fight in front of his family or something else. Am I the a-hole? It sounds like she's non-committal to me. She's non-committal, and maybe their relationship is not as solid as boyfriend tries to make it seem. Because she said, oh, if I get in a fight in front of his family, that makes it seem like they get in a lot of fights. She doesn't really want to be alone with him in a place that she cannot escape for several days at a time. Do they live together? I'm probably going to say no. This OP, I see a comment saying, how old is she? She's 27 years old. Boyfriend is 25 years old. So he's actually younger than her. It feels very non-committal to me. The overall vote on this is not the a-hole. I don't think she's an a-hole, but it seems like she is not really in the relationship. And there might be a little bit more going on than she's really letting us know. So let's go ahead and see what the comments have to say on the Reddit post saying, not the a-hole, only because it's your choice at the end of the day. However, you are being unfair to your partner. You've been together for 2 years. He wants to have you to be involved with his family, which, yes, that is a big step, but shows he's committed to a future as a couple. His family is important. That isn't going to change. And he wants a significant other to be involved and get along with his family and not just tolerate them. I think you really need to think if he or his family has done anything in the relationship to contribute to your fears, because that's not really fair on him if you're bringing past fears concerning relationships and treating him like he will do the same when he hasn't done anything wrong. I agree with that. And OP actually has a big response. Like, all I'm gonna keep saying is it feels non-committal. It feels like she doesn't really like him like that. So OP actually says, his family and I do get along. I've been on multiple outings and day trips with his family, and we get along great. My issue isn't that. It's the fact that it might be selfish to not want to go on a cruise because I genuinely hate the idea of it. To me, it's like being invited to the dentist, not fun, loud, uncomfortable, and only necessary if I have to go. Again, this is an emotional onion. On the surface, I'm sure it does seem like I'm projecting some trauma from my ex and his family, but there's layers to the issue that I couldn't get into with the 3,000 character limit. His family is sweet but very dramatic, and I know there will be family drama on the trip. Part of me is avoiding it because it just doesn't sound fun to be there when it happens. Yes, all family has their drama, but I've seen his go to extremes and hold grudges and pick sides, which I don't think is healthy, and I don't like being in the middle. Yes, I understand that's something I'll have to deal with if we got married. So if we got married, as you also marry the family, but right now I'm not under the commitment. I'm just a girlfriend, not a fiance or married spouse. There's also the aspect of the time off. Like I said, most holidays I spend with my own family as they are mostly out of state, and it takes 2 to 3 days to travel just to get to them. Because of this, I've been judicious in my spending 2 to 3 weeks of vacation seeing them. I usually take a week off in the summer and a week off around Christmas to see the farthest relatives. To take a week off to go on his family trip will take away from my own family time. And again, as just girlfriend and boyfriend, I don't know if that's fair. I know it would be a sacrifice, but again, for a vacation, I don't want to go on, ? That makes a lot more sense. So his family is dramatic. So that would have been information we would have known, because this to me just sounds like you're non-committal. But again, she said, oh, just as boyfriend and girlfriend, you've been together for 2 years. Are you not working towards becoming a fiance? What if he's going to propose on this Disney cruise because he knows that you like Disney and their family just happened to be on the cruise, so his family gets to be there? Maybe they'll invite your family too. Who freaking knows? But you keep saying boyfriend, girlfriend. You've been together for 2 years. Do you not like him? Do you think it's not going to work? I think these are things that you need to be telling your boyfriend if that is the case. This is ridiculous to me. 2 years? 2 years, and you are not wanting to commit to this guy. Don't know why. Don't know why. Do not know why, y'all. Let me see one more comment, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the BriHive comments. Someone says, my mom's prone to seasickness. A scopolamine patch is enough to manage a large cruise ship for most people. The size of the ship means it really doesn't rock unless the water is very rough. The bigger the ship, the steadier it is. So if you don't get seasick on small boats, you shouldn't be on a big old ship. They said, while the first vacation with your significant other's family is a big step, 2 years is around the late end of a normal amount of time for that when there aren't kids involved. Blending families can complicate things. If you keep putting it off, you may start to give the impression that you don't like them or you don't want to become a part of their family. Unless you're in a rough patch in your relationship where fighting is likely, it sounds like you're getting in on your own. You're getting in your own way here. If you're in a place where you're fighting a lot, you should probably work through that before you do any vacationing, because they make it a lot harder to get some space and calm down. And the whole being far from home thing tends to be an extra stress when things are bad, even though it's fun and exciting when things are good. Not the a-hole But I think you should sit down and ask yourself two things. How likely are the things you're afraid of? And is the solution you can use for those? Is there a solution you can use for those problems? So I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to do one more comment and then a comment from OP, and then we'll jump into BriHive comments. They say not the a-hole. Cruise ships aren't for everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in my honest opinion, it sounds like that isn't really your issue here, but you're using it as an excuse. It sounds like you are actively sabotaging your relationship. Yes. I agree. Actively sabotaging your relationship by refusing to do things with his family. If you can't let go of your last relationship to the point you are actively avoiding creating bonds with your boyfriend and his family, you should strongly consider therapy or breaking up, because 2 years is a long time. You should really be working on getting engaged. I know some people like to be together for 10 years before they ever even think about getting engaged, but 2 years is a normal time frame to be considering the next steps of your relationship. They say just be careful at the rate you're going. Your boyfriend might decide to quit trying, and that would be a shame. OP says, maybe I should have clarified. I've done many things with his family over the last year. Nearly every other week or so, we are doing something. I've had to warm up to it, but I've gotten to know his family pretty well now. And I don't mind it at all, and we all get along great. And I honestly wouldn't mind if it was just about anything else for a vacation. I just hate the idea of a cruise. I'd rather go to the dentist for 5 days to sit out one vacation of many to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Not sure and not likely if one vacation is all it takes for him to break up. That would be tragic on his end and not mature, if you ask me. And he's been quite proud and patient with me, knowing my past experiences with family. So I just don't see that happening. But yeah, never know. I think she's making excuses. I think she's making lots and lots of excuses. Okay. I think she's making lots of excuses. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think about this one. Cat Love Dream and Peach. I think this is a response to the other one saying for the wedding or grandbaby, she needs to work through it. I think so too. Cheryl C, hello and welcome in. Nice to have you in. Mary Jane says 2 years ? And water sports. Yes. Mary Jane says, does she fear water or the in-laws? And she has not even been on a cruise. But she's saying, oh, I'm going to be seasick. You don't even know. You haven't been on the cruise. Cheryl C says, I'm behind and trying to catch up. It's been a while since I've been able to catch a live. I've been replay crew lately due to my wacky schedule. No problem. We are happy to have you here catching up. Cat Love Dream and Peach says, how old is she? She is 27 years old and non-committal, in my opinion. Cat says, I mean, either she's scared of water or scared of intimacy. Which one? And it sounds like she's had enough time with the family. To me, it sounds like she doesn't like the boyfriend and she doesn't like the family. Because you're not even willing to try a cruise that you haven't been on. Zello Spoo says, girl, I don't think she actually likes this guy so much. Yeah. That's where I am. That is where I am. And maybe she just needs to break up. I think so. I think she's dragging it out. She does not have any intent on marrying this guy. That's what it feels. She's like, that's just a boyfriend and a girlfriend. I don't think that's necessary. You've been together for 2 years. You're running up on becoming a fiance. Maybe he's going to propose on the boat. Kat says he's not the one, hun. Yeah, I don't think so. Not for her. Mary Jane says, or maybe she's afraid the family will hate her. Wonder what happened to her in the previous relationship. She's the one that's projecting it, though. Mary Jane says maybe she's an introvert. Maybe. But I don't think her using the 2-year excuse makes much sense to me. And boyfriend even asked her to go on a cruise with him without the family previously. And then she would have been able to know whether she actually gets seasick or not. But it sounds like she's been around the family enough to not be super introverted. And with a cruise, you don't have to hang out with them the entire time. Kat says, I think the relationship had a 2-year limit expired. That's what it seems like. It seems like she's not that interested. Zealous Boo says OP doesn't fit with the family. That's fine, but you probably need to tell the boyfriend and that you're just not committed to this relationship and let him choose if he wants to stay with you. Because it seems like he's doing a lot of coaxing of her. Like, come do this, come do that, come do this, come do that. And she's like, maybe, no, rather see my family. Your family sucks. Like, it doesn't seem like she's as committed to the relationship as he is. Mary Jane says the boyfriend needs to either stand up for her if the family sucks, or maybe they should break up. LOL, not the a-hole in my opinion. I don't like in real life drama either. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yes, if they are dramatic and they're a problem, that does absolutely make sense to me. But it just seems like she has no interest in him. That's where I am at. Just Me MD says, I thought the same thing. Boyfriend may take this opportunity to propose to you. Don't think she's the a-hole. The thing is, she doesn't want to be proposed to. It seems like she does not want him to propose to her anyways, because she's like, I'm just a boyfriend. I'm just a girlfriend. I'm just a girlfriend. It's like, yeah, but maybe he wants to propose and he needs you to be a little bit more involved with his family before he does so that he can get their blessing and get your family blessing. Like, what is going on? Mary Jane says, OMG, if he's planning to propose there, I don't think he really understands her. She sounds like she likes peace and quiet and not big gestures. That's where it seems like, and it's almost where it seems like he doesn't spend a lot of time with her family, which is where he's going to need to get the approval from, in my opinion. I think you should get approval from the other family, make sure they are okay with you joining their family. But she seems very non-committal. And maybe they talk about having a longer engagement or a longer relationship before engagement. I don't know. Everybody's different. I'm saying it's a long time, but maybe she doesn't think it's a long time. I don't know. It just seems to me that she is not into this guy how he is into her. But y'all, that is all I had for today. Thank you for joining the Am I the A-hole cruise edition. The cruise was a good time for me, a good break. I feel like I got like a nice little tan going on. Okay, I got some caramelization to my skin, so that was fun. Like I said, if you haven't been on an adults only cruise, you should definitely try it. Definitely try it. Be careful if you're not into like swinger people. Be careful because they are there. They are there. Just be careful about it. We will be live tomorrow talking about everything going on with Diddy. Why y'all didn't tell me that there was a superseding indictment while I was on a cruise? Another superseding indictment on Diddy. We also have Jay-Z suing the plaintiff in the 13-year-old lawsuit. And we have Jay-Z suing Busby in the 13-year-old lawsuit that was filed against him. So we are going to try to cover all three topics. So we probably won't read all documents, but we'll kind of briefly go over everything tomorrow. And then I will see y'all on the next live stream, which again, like I said, it's tomorrow. I will see y'all talking about all the nonsense going on with Diddy since I've been on a boat, on a cruise, no reception, not looking into any of the drama. But thank y'all all for joining me. I will see y'all all on the next live stream, which is tomorrow. Bye.